A few days ago, I posted a video of my foster cat playing with my resident cat, Bronx. And so I'm just going to break down that video to explain to you guys what I see while I'm watching them play. I'll show you what constitutes good play versus bad play in cats, and hopefully that will help you be able to determine the difference when you're watching your own pets at home. So let's get right into it. When I'm watching cats play, the first thing I consider is how well socialized the cats are to one another. Naturally, newer playmates are going to need more monitoring as they establish communication between one another. And we'll touch on this more soon, but with communication in cats, like hissing, growling, and things of that nature, this isn't inherently bad. It's used to talk to one another. What can be bad about it is whether or not the other cat is being receptive. From there, the second thing I consider is whether or not the play is mutual. Mutual interest in playtime is also your best indicator that this is play versus aggression. Think of it like throwing a ball back and forth or taking turns. They should be taking turns with who's the aggressor versus who's being pounced on, and so forth. And it's even better if you're seeing them take little breaks while they're playing too. The little breaks are helping them regulate their bodies and keeping them from being overstimulated. And from there, I begin watching their body language, focusing mostly on their ears and their tail. Cats use their ears and their tails to communicate their emotions, thoughts, and feelings. Happy ears on a cat sit upright, while pinned, flat ears that are sitting directly on top of their head indicate fear. But don't mistake that for aggression or playful ears, which sit sort of in the middle. Happy tails are upright and loose, while scared tails are either tucked between their legs or fluffed up. And something else you'll see in the other video I posted is a lot of tail swishing. Tail swishing is just an indication that the cat is very stimulated, and stimulation is neither good nor bad. I think of it like a tipping point. It just means that the cat could flip in either direction very quickly. And so if I see a lot of tail swishing in a play session, I'm just going to monitor the play session more closely. Another thing to note is that the looser the body is, the more relaxed and happy a cat is, and showing their belly is a very good sign. Keep in mind with any of this body language, their ears and tail don't have to stay this way. They will fluctuate as they communicate. And of course, there are some red flags that I'm going to keep an eye out for. This includes fur flying, hissing, growling, one-sidedness, bullying, and use of claws and teeth. And if you see any of these signs, try to allow your cats to communicate and intervene if it's going to go in a negative direction. While it's extremely important for cats to establish communication between each other, it's also equally important to avoid severe negative moments if possible. And the last thing is vocality. Vocality is a great way for a cat to tell another cat, hey, you're doing that too hard, or I don't really like that much. However, this can also be specific to each cat, and if you're watching my videos, you're going to hear a lot of vocality because Bronx is vocal all the time. Alright, enough chit chat, let's break down the video from the other day so you can see all of this in real time. This first clip shows Bronx as the instigator, and while he's being extremely vocal, you'll see that there's no claws or teeth out while they're wrestling. Given the amount of vocality in that first clip, I likely would have separated them if they hadn't done it themselves, which they did. This agreed upon break is beautiful, and then they get right back into the back and forth of wrestling. From there, there's a lot of things I'm really loving. One, the body language is very nice. The ears are loose and high, and though arboreos are lower, they're not pinned flat. Another indication that Arborio is loving this is that he's participating instead of running away, which he very easily could have done. Now, going back to the ears, you can see that they are back, but they aren't flat. This is a scared cat and this is a scared cat, but this is an aggressive or playful cat. So if the ears can be aggressive or playful in that state, how do I know the difference? It comes from the rest of the body. There's still a beautiful amount of looseness in both of their bodies here, and you aren't seeing a cat stalk, loom, or posture over the other one. However, you'll see things start to switch right about here. While this still falls into the category of play, you can see Bronx is kind of breaking the rules now. Arboreo's using these much shorter, quick little whacks while staying farther back. That shift in his weight while he's looking around is indicating that he's overwhelmed and kind of wants to take a break. That very easily could have been a moment where they needed to be separated. However, Bronx listened, and when Arborio removed himself from the situation, Bronx respected it. In this next part, you'll see Bronx's tail and Arboreo's are both nice, loose and high. Their claws are staying in, and these little chomps you're seeing are not really having genuine impact, meaning they're not clamping down. Right about here, however, you'll see Bronx use his vocality to tell Arborio that that little chomp was too hard. So they separate and then begin to initiate play again. This tail swishing is just telling me that I need to continue to monitor the situation, and I would be giving them breaks if they weren't doing such a good job of doing it on their own. These little breaks are so important because they help the cats re-regulate their systems before going back in for more. I'm often worried that Bronx is going to be too much, but Arborio showing his belly while they play is such a good sign that he really enjoys this too. And this is such a big learning experience for Bronx because I found him as a single kitten at 5 weeks old, and he grew up with Brooklyn and Hudson, but neither of them enjoy play like this. Another great sign is that Arborio is completely comfortable having Bronx stand behind him while he's not keeping an eye on him. This indicates a huge amount of trust between the two of them. And this last clip is how I help Bronx re-regulate his system if he wants to be too rough. And that's the end. I hope that helped you understand how to tell the difference between good and bad play in cats.